Hey guys, bass fishing in the fall can be tough. Though the bass are looking to fatten up before winter, the cooler water temperature makes them a bit more sluggish, and they've been pressured all summer, so they can be wary and spooky. So that gets me to thinking. And you got to vary things up a little bit, I think, in order to catch the bass that other anglers miss, right? And a lot of times you will come behind people who've been throwing the standard stuff you would expect in the fall. So one of the tricks I like to use, one of the techniques I like to use, is to use a Carolina rigged soft plastic that's pretty small. So think about spring when you might throw a Carolina rigged rage tail craw or something like that. I like to do that again in the fall. Not just rage tails, but I might use a tube, I might use a fluke, I might use a small Senko, I might use a worm, a 4 or 5 inch worm. The idea though with my Carolina rig is I want to work it very slowly. So obviously the Carolina rig is designed for clear bottoms, rocks, sand, stuff like that, not a lot of grass, not a lot of vegetation. So this is a very specific technique I'm talking about. But what I like to do is cast my Carolina rig out there, especially if I can find the edge of a drop-off, the edge of a point, something like that. I want to work those transitional zones, basically reversing the pre-spawn technique, right, of finding where the bass are moving into shallower water. This time I'm watching the bass transition into deeper water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an attractive soft plastic trailer on my Carolina rig, and then I'm going to very gently, very slowly, and with a side motion, sweep my trailer as it's floating just off the bottom across that bottom, right? I'm not looking to bury it on the ground. I'm not trying to turn this into a Ned rig, right? I want that trailer floating off of the bottom, and I want my weight keeping me grounded so that I can control the distance between the weight and my terminal tackle. Now I'm looking for about 1 foot to 18 inches there ideally, right? So what you do is you just gently drag this soft plastic trailer across the bottom. You are trying to creep this thing. You are not trying to move it quickly. The bass are not going to chase it down. So you creep this along the edge of drop-offs, along points, along the edges of whatever live weed beds you might find, and any other kind of structure you think is holding bass. And another way you can use this, of course, is to do the same thing, but use your good fishing electronics to identify where the bait is. Because where you find food, you will find bass. Now, I'm telling you, what your electronics aren't going to pick up a crawfish. And if you happen to live in a place where crawfish are a major food for bass, they're a major food for bass where I fish, yeah, it's not a bad idea to throw a rage tail craw or something like that, some kind of creature bait, and drag it across the bottom, right? And of course, crawfish could be anywhere. But I like to target those transition zones. I like to target brush piles. I like to target logs that are underwater, blowdowns, stuff like that, as well as those steep drop-offs where the bass can rise and fall in the water very easily. If you try a Carolina rig this fall and you rig a small soft plastic trailer, if the water's clear, try to match the hatch. Otherwise, go with something bright like white or chartreuse. If you do this and you fish it slow and you fish it subtle, you will catch more bass this fall. I'd love to hear your ideas about this and if you've had any experience with it. I'll be in touch soon. Good talking to you.